All right, Joel, thanks for sending through your requirements analysis by your email. I thought I'd take it upon myself to actually put something together for you really quick that's just going to address each of those criteria. And I've done this in 365, so this is something that you already have. I've just done this as a bit of a fun exercise just to sort of challenge my abilities and see what I can do with it. So what I want to do is just give you a quick demo of how that will work. So what I've done is office.com, so this should look fairly familiar for you. Over on the left-hand side here, we have SharePoint. So I'm going to jump into SharePoint. Now this is just our demo site. We've done a little bit of building in here. So I have a site that is our server scalar demo. Basically the way that this works, this is just our landing, the landing site. So we've done some customizations there. Down the left-hand side, we have our libraries. So what I've done is I've actually created a documents library. So a library to put documents in called the documents register. You can call this deeds register. You could call it wills or your blasting powers of attorney, whatever it happens to be. So we're just going to jump into that library. And what I've done is I've built out our metadata sets. So these are basically the fields that go with the document based on the criteria per your email. And what I wanted to show you is if we load something in here or if we put something in here, so we might upload a document in here. So I'll just select a file to upload from somewhere. We'll just upload this PDF document. And what that will do, we can see that that's now loading in there. And we can see that we have a whole bunch of mandatory fields that we need to fill in. So we can see that there's required info there. So what we do over on the left-hand side here is we just start filling this in. So in the mandatory fields, we have document type. So it's either a will or a lasting power of attorney or enduring power of attorney, they call them here. So we can save that one. The document date. So we might make that document date today. We can have a document status. So where's that up to? Is this a draft? Is it approved? Has it been approved by a fee owner? Is it published to the client awaiting execution? Has it been executed? And if it has been executed, we should mark that as a record. So, over here we put documents like that into some form of safe custody or permanent hold. So we'll put this one in as we'll put it in as published as though we're waiting for the client. Now with that document status field, we can write workflows that are associated with that as well. So if it's been uploaded and it's been sitting on the published status for say 2 weeks and it hasn't been updated, we can get Power Automate, also included in 365, to send a notification out and go, oh, hey, this hasn't been touched in a fortnight. Can someone follow up on this? Or we can get it to create a task, whatever needs to happen with that. Just by the way, I built this out in the last 15-20 minutes. So this was relatively quick to do. And it's, from my perspective, this is just sort of very, very basic in terms of what we can do with it. I'm going to put some information in here. So we're just asking for a surname. So I'll put my details in here. Now for the address, it's pretty cool. It does a live lookup. So our address here and our office is 272 Orlando Road, Lambton. So we can see it's doing an address lookup. So it will validate that using Bing Maps. Put in the phone number. So my phone number is 0423 451 737. Put in my email address. So you can see that there's required or mandatory fields. They have a little star on them, and then there's non-mandatory fields. So particularly for wills and the more of that elderly demographic, not all of them have an email address, but for the purposes of this, I'm going to put one in. We do have here, is it deceased? So this is either a yes or a no. So I can check that it's deceased, or I can uncheck that this person is deceased. I am very much alive. And one of the things was the check-in note. So you might want to put some notes against this. Rob needs to sign this. Please review and publish. You could put anything in there. And that's basically done. So that's now all saved. There are some other things you can see in here. We can see the activity or the history. So you can see it was modified a few seconds ago. So there's a whole bunch of extra data that goes with that. One of the other things that we can see across here is the checked out to. So you did want to see about the checkout status. So we can have a checkout status on that as well. To check the document out, which will essentially lock that document. We just select the document, and in our menu here, we can go check out, and that will lock the document. We can also see things like version history, so what's happened there. We can have some alerts on that, so when it changes status, a few bits and pieces, we're able to do that. And one of the other things that you wanted to see was we can also, when you upload heaps of stuff in here, you can also edit this in grid view, so you can change a whole bunch of this stuff in here, which is really convenient when you first put stuff in. You did want to see the ability to filter, so we can actually filter by on this, and we can filter by will. If there was a whole bunch of documents, we'd be able to filter by LPA as well. So I'm just going to, we can clear all, turn that off. We can sort by date, so we can see the document date is today, but if it wasn't, we'd be able to sort by that. I've configured this so it sorts by surname first and then first name second. So it'll sort by Dawson, so if there was 50 Dawsons in there with different first names, it'd then sort by first name, surname. That's how I would like to look it up, but you can use any of these fields to do that as well. So you can sort them by date or from document type. So yeah, you can apply all of those filters to bring down those document sets. You can also export this to Excel. So if you need to export it to Excel to run some form of report, you can do that as well. So it'll just bring out all of that metadata that's associated with those documents into an Excel report, and you can filter that and manage that via Excel if you needed to do that as well. And one of the other really powerful things that we can do here is using Power Automate or using our Power Apps, so that we can, one of the things is set a reminder on the document date. So if I click through to this, it'll load here for a little while it connects everything up. So we can see here, get an email reminder, remind me a number of days in advance of the date in the column. So if you set a document date and say, okay, well, the document date is today, and what I want a reminder in 3 years' time, you can configure Power Automate to send you a reminder, say 30 days or 90 days before the 3-year mark from the current document date, that, hey, this needs a renewal or something that's associated with that. The other thing you can do in Power Automate is if you have someone, you can get it to automatically view someone's name, and you can validate it by their address or phone number and go, hey, Rob Dawson of this address has a will in our system but doesn't have an LPA in our system. Maybe this is a sales opportunity so that we can do some cross-selling as well. So those are the types of things that we can do there. This is all done in 365, so this is all via SharePoint, so you may or may not be using SharePoint yet. One of your other criteria that you did define to me was the ability to integrate that with Clio. Now, interestingly, Clio does have a 365 connector, but it connects to OneDrive. Interestingly, OneDrive in Microsoft 365 is actually SharePoint. It is actually a SharePoint library. I'll show you how you can tell this. So if we go to OneDrive here, you can see here I'm in OneDrive for Business, serverscaler-my.sharepoint.com. So Clio does have an integration into 365 around OneDrive. I'm not sure about into SharePoint, but I'm sure if you had the conversation with them about it, if you built something out in SharePoint like this, your documents register, they may be able to update that connector or modify that connector to allow you to essentially search that library or view that library to have that integration there. Wouldn't be too difficult to do because it all already exists via the OneDrive stuff. So I thought I'd give you a quick overview of that, just to show you that, yeah, that can definitely be done within the stuff that you have. It's just a matter of finding the right partner to help you put that together, get the documents in and give you the training. I know that you're off in the UK and obviously we're in Australia, so there is a time zone challenge there, but I'd be more than happy to help you out if that's something that you wanted to consider further. Yeah, feel free to get in touch, give me a call or shoot me an email. Thanks a lot.